Hey everyone, quick video here to show you how you can get your Fathom AI summary into your CRM for the corresponding contact. Now, real quick, what is Fathom AI? It's one of these tools, a lot of them out there actually now, they're all competing, and honestly, they're pretty cool. What it is you can add them as a participant to your typically Zoom meeting, but I think it'd be any meeting. And they kind of sit there and they actually record the conversation, which is nice if you don't want to pay for maybe Zoom's recording feature. I don't know honestly how the prices compare, but that could be one use case. But the bigger use case is then they take that transcript, the summary, and they actually will output information, an AI summary of what happened, which includes the highlights, summary of the conversation, and what I like the most, the next steps, which is pretty cool. So that's nice, but the big problem is it's sitting over there in this standalone app called Fathom, which you probably don't log into a bunch. What's really valuable and what makes it that much more valuable is to be able to then take that summary and put it on a profile in a system that you use every day, like your CRM, and have that automatically happening. And so we're going to show exactly how to do that. Because this is an AI video, I thought I'd just quickly mention this. This is cool, and this actually helped me build this app. I have it kind of over here, kind of started already, so I'm not going to redo it, but it's a pretty cool tool, this one. I've skipped it the last couple videos to provide a super high level summary. You can kind of come in here and say, just describe exactly that. Take the Fathom AI summary and put it as a note on the contact my CRM. Right, and you can do that. And what I'll actually do is actually start constructing the Zap. I'll pause it. Oh, see, it's pretty quick. And you can see this one actually didn't do a great job, I don't think, because it's using Dante AI and then Wealthbox CRM, which I made some assumptions there. So it's not perfect. Sometimes it hallucinates. But anyways, I didn't say no this time, but in general, it's pretty good. And I've used it a couple times, and it can save you some time. But we're going to skip this again. Jump right into the Zap. So Fathom is the tool. So like all these, you kind of go through that, right? App, account, trigger, test. And so like I said, I've kind of set a bit of this up already just for the sake of time, but I'm going to walk you through it. So app being Fathom, and new AI summary is what you want to do. So you can see there's other things here, highlights, recordings, different things you get out of Fathom, but the AI summary is really the money. So we're going to use that. Account speaks for itself. It's kind of that OAuth. You just log in and it goes through. Trigger, this is the only nuance with Fathom. You can either have a team level, well, a single login. So for me as Tom, I can see my meetings, but then if I'm a business owner, I could also see my team's meetings, right? And so there's two different layers. And so the question is, do I want to do this for my whole team? So anytime my team records a meeting, I want to come in, or maybe just my meetings, because maybe I'm just, I don't know, selfish like that. I don't know. But so I'm going to keep my meetings. More typically, it's, maybe a privacy thing, or maybe you're beta testing it. A lot of reasons why. And then you test it, right? And so when you get the test, like a lot of these tests, you do get this nice output. You can see it gives you everyone who attended the meeting, the meeting invitees, gives you that summary. There's an HTML formatted. That's if you're using a program like an email maybe, or a website that uses HTML. There's Markdown, which again, there's different softwares that use Markdown. For the CRM, we're going to use the plain text. That's what works really well with notes. But there's even, I just want to mention this, even a Slack. So for those of you out there using Slack, you can maybe even take this and throw it into Slack, which is cool. The next step here is basically to take, so if you look, I'll go back to actually my data. There's actually, in this case, there was 4 invitees. And so I actually get as an output 4 people, but I don't think it's a best practice actually to put it onto 4 different people's accounts. That's a little bit of duplication. It can create some issues down the line. Really not so many issues, but just I don't think it's a best practice. Your notes, if you have a single note, a single meeting, it should be one spot. And so my recommendation is to stick with the first person, the meeting invitee. You're obviously always going to have at least one person, so that's a safe bet. Just choose that first person and put them in. And so that's what this one does. It's a utility tool. There's a lot of great utility tools in Zapier. This one's the utilities. I'm using specifically the line item to text. So we're taking a line item, which is all those different things, and we're just outputting it as a series of texts. So Jared, Tammy, Josie, all these different people that were on it. And of course, this was the original one that I had. So now I have that in a much more usable state, which allows me to go to my next stage. So before we can actually go ahead and create a module and still create that note, one thing that's really important is you got to actually find the related contact, right? That's actually where most people get stuck. They usually forget about this step. They usually go straight to 4 and they start creating the note. But what you need on the note is a parent ID. So the parent is basically the record, you could call it, in which the note is sitting on. So the note is a child to the parent of that record. And so I need this ID, and I actually don't know it, right? Because, in this case, I'm trying to attach it to Jared, but I don't know Jared's ID. If I click here, I'm not just going to search through and find Jared because, okay, it'll work this time, but every other time it's no good. And so that's what this allows me to do. First step, I'm going to actually find Jared or whoever was at my meeting in the CRM. So I come through, again, account, this is kind of that OAuth, you can just log in, and then I'm going to search. Email is always the greatest thing to search on by contacts. Most software support email. So if you have really good emails in your CRM and your databases, this is going to work well. And this is why I wanted to do this, right? If I had it before, I could pop in this, but it's just like a list of all those emails of people who attend the meeting. It's not useful. It's not really usable. So instead, what I did is I took the output of my formatter and I can take one to whoever. So I could have done 2, but again, this would then fail if I only had one person in the meeting. So 1's always the safest bet. And you can see I tested this and it comes back as a result of this, pardon me. Let me go back here, whoops, test. You can see I have that ID right there. So I'm dynamically generating that ID, which gives me this really nice output. And so yeah, to bring it all together, again, app, now I'm just creating that new entry. Here I'm going to connect as always, and then the action is creating. So I said I want to create it in, nice to search sometimes, notes. There's only one layout, so standard's fine. I'm going to do all the triggers as kind of a best practice, always nice to do them all. We'll get to these in a second, obviously, but this is where I can come in and say, okay, well, there's the borrowers, that's my contacts really, and then all that work was to come out and get, as a result of this beautiful ID right here. So that was a lot of work to get that on ID, but obviously it's so important to make sure it's attached to the right person. And so finally, you can come in here. Usually what I like to do for the note title, I actually like to put in the meeting title. So I could put that in, and then maybe dash, AI summary. And then the note content, this is where I can come in. And if you remember, it's the plain text. Great AI formatted plain. Oh, yeah, it's just this first one here. So we'll put that in. Great. And then we'll hit continue. And so that's pretty much it. So now I'll hit test step and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the test is complete. You can see this is kind of what it did. It said, okay, we put in all these things. There's that parent ID. The parent ID name was Jared the borrower. Perfect. And so then now if I go over to my CRM here, the one we use, of course, is Zoho, which is what Blue Mortgage is built on. I come in here, I can see Jared and that exact thing that I just described, that Jared Web meeting with the AI summary. It's going to give me all those things, the key takeaways, topics, what was discussed, the pricing, what was discussed, and then what I love, those next steps there. So that was it, all automated. All that needs to happen is my meeting to be complete. It automatically goes, finds Jared that contact, and attaches this to their account in a nice, easy to read summary. Pretty freaking awesome if you ask me. So we'll leave it at there. Really, that's it. Usually I like to do a test in these, but I'd have to, spin up a Zoom and do all this stuff. So I won't be doing it in this video, but hopefully with those tests that I did and walking through this, it gives you a pretty good idea of how all that works. As always, if you do have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it valuable, please do subscribe. It's how we know we're on the right track here, building valuable content. So please hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.